Welcome back, boys and girls. This is the next episode of Resurrected Metal. I'm your host, Joe Tessitore, and in case you're joining us for the first time, this is the show where we take old bikes that have been beat down, junked, thrown to the garbage, and we build them back, make them into something new. Okay, what you see behind me here is finally the bike. If you were paying attention to the last show, the garage was not set up yet, so we had a little bit of a delay with that. But as you can see, the bike is here. I built a little workbench today, which is an important part of the shop. Cleaned up a bit. I couldn't have done it without my better half, Shannon. Thank you so much. She cleaned up a whole bunch of this crap for me today, and really made it easier for me. So, thanks, babe. Other than that, let's get right into it here. So today we're going to have the unveiling of this bike. Let me give you a little backstory on this machine, okay? Back in 1993 is the first time I saw this bike. I went to a Suzuki shop with my dad, and I saw this thing sitting there in the showroom. Now, I was 16 years old, I guess it was, 15 or 16. Didn't have my license yet, but I knew I wanted to ride, and I saw this machine and said, God, that thing is just amazing. I've got to get one of those. But of course, that's not the way it turned out. I started off on a little 250 Nighthawk, and the rest is history. But I always had this bike in the back of my mind. And now it's, 15, 16 years later? Something like that, yeah? Oh, 2010, 17 years later, I finally got one in my garage. I saw this on Craigslist, which I recommend if anybody's looking for an old bike, used bike, good bike, bad bike, whatever. Take a look on Craigslist. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. So went on Craigslist, I found this bike, went to look at it. Now, before I unveil it, let me tell you, it's a basket case. It's been abused, it's been dropped, knocked down, painted. Wait till you see this thing. But here at Resurrected Metal, we look beyond that, and I encourage you to do the same. That's what this is about. This is not about me, building a bike so you can buy it. This is about me working on a bike, an average guy, showing you what you can do, so when you have a bike like this sitting at home, you can do the same thing. Just to give you some encouragement to that and show you that, anything is possible. So, so I saw this bike, finally got one of my own, and, of course I was excited to go see it. When I saw it for the first time, it wasn't exactly as I remembered it. This one is, well, shall we say, a little bit dirtier of an example, but nonetheless, I could see through that. It is still a bike that has always, spoken to me, and it's true to my heart. And that's, what a lot of people that rebuild bikes, that's what they go for. They go for bikes that, that were from their childhood or something that they had a good memory of, someone they knew used to ride one. And, that's all it takes, to see a vision in a bike that no one else saw. Somebody had it sitting in a garage, piled under a bunch of crap, and they just let it sit there and rot. You come along, you find it, you get a bike like this for $300. It doesn't run, but so what? We take it step by step. We're going to rebuild it. Now this is going to be more than just a restoration. It's not going back to factory or stock. This thing's going to get stripped down. Most of what you see on this bike is probably going to get thrown away or trashed. We're going to build it back from the ground up and make it something that I like. It might not be your personal preference. Feel free to email me, comment me, and say, hey, I like what you're doing, I don't like what you're doing. That's cool. When you work on your bike, the sky's the limit. You do what you want. Don't listen to anybody else. By all means, get advice on how to do stuff, but, see the vision in the bike yourself and just take it from there. And whatever speaks to you, if you feel like chopping a piece off of it, as, I've been known to do here and there, chop it. Take off parts, add parts to it, make it your own. So, without further ado, why don't we unveil this beast of a bike. That went better than expected. Here it is. This is the Suzuki Bandit 400. Now, they made these bikes starting in about 1989 they started building these bikes. This happens to be a 1991. When I saw it, it was in 1993, but still all the same vintage. Like I said, it's a 400cc motorcycle, 4-cylinder, inline 4. It's got a trellis frame to it. And I'll take you on a little tour of the bike too, but it probably puts out only about 59 horsepower or so. So not a lot. I mean, you're not going to be, racing anybody in the canyons and taking it to track. Well, I mean, you could take it to track days, but that's not the purpose of this bike. This bike is meant for, like I've said before, and I love to say it, it's meant for the urban jungle. It's meant for the streets. It's meant for splitting lanes. It's meant for getting through traffic and getting you where you need to go. This is going to be solid transportation, but that doesn't mean it has to be ugly. This bike's going to turn heads. People are going to look at it. They're going to take pictures of it. They're going to say, "What the hell is that?" So why don't I take you on a tour of the bike, and you can see some of the things that I saw when I first went to look at it. Let's take a look here. Okay, what you may or may not know about this bike is what you see is black. This bike didn't start out black. This was a red bike with a red frame, which is what excited me about it when I saw it. I hadn't seen a bike that was just, fire engine red, reminded me of Ducatis, which were way out of my league at the time. That's what attracted me to this bike. It was red. I think it had white wheels they came with. But this bike here, if you look closely, somebody took a black can of spray paint to the whole thing. You can see down here in the engine, the frame, the foot pegs, even the brake fluid reservoir, everything has been sprayed with black spray paint. I don't know what they were thinking, but you know what? Actually, if we look close at the tank, I can give you an idea of what they were thinking. This bike used to be red. I don't know if you probably can't see it on the video. Somebody took a paintbrush and painted by hand Spider-Man spiderwebs all over the tank. So I imagine the next owner who got this bike said, "Oh my God, what did you do?" and just had to paint the whole thing black so they wouldn't get laughed at. But hey, to each his own. So the bike is overall in okay shape. Let's climb up here and take a look at it. We've got, well, it says 12,000 miles on it. Who knows how accurate this is. Brake lever over here is bent pretty bad, so you can see it was dropped probably more than once. But, it doesn't look like there's any structural damage to it. We can see a lot of oil leaking on the fender here. That's fork oil. That means that these forks are probably close to empty by now. They're not going to do any damping. All they're going to do is bounce up and down like a spring. Brakes, who knows, they're probably shot too. As you can see, there's a lot of corrosion on the exhaust. Once we get into this, I'm going to show you how we fix that. It's a quick fix. We're going to wrap it all in exhaust tape and make it look pretty badass. But overall, you know what? It's not in bad shape. It doesn't run right now. The guy I bought it from tried to get it to run. When I went to buy it, he sprayed some starter fluid in it, but that didn't really do anything for the bike. It didn't help it, and it certainly didn't start it. So let's put this back here so I can talk to everybody. Alright, so you see what it looks like. You see that it needs a lot of work, but don't let that scare you. If you see a bike like this, if it's what you want to do, go for it. I mean, especially if you have the room. Luckily, I do. I've got a garage that I can work in. But you know what? I know a lot of friends that have parking garages to their building that work on them in the parking garage. Actually, if you've seen one of my other videos, Garage Night Customs, we did a lot of work on that bike in the parking garage, with some long extension cords and plug-in lights. So it doesn't matter. You can keep it in your backyard, put a cover on it. The fact is, if you've got some space where you can keep a bike, keep some parts and some tools, that's going to do it. That's all you really need. I've got basic tools here. You're going to need ratchets and wrenches. You're going to need screwdrivers. Like I said, a good workbench is great if you've got it. We're going to be putting a vise on this one. Hopefully, within the next couple episodes, there'll be a vise mounted up here because I think that's important. The saws are always good. Down the road, hopefully we'll see a plasma cutter and some welding equipment. That's not here right now, but there are places you can go to get some of that work done if you need to outsource some stuff. If you're not good with the motor, there are places you can go that'll rebuild it. I'm not the best at it, but we're going to tear it apart anyway and play with it and see what we can come up with. But this is a learning experience for me. Hopefully it's a learning experience for you, and something you can get excited about, because I know I am. We're going to tear into this thing and just have some fun. What else can I tell you about this? that's about it. You know, we could start tearing it apart tonight, but you know what? It's kind of late. I say we're gonna call it. We're probably gonna call it quits. I know this is gonna be a short episode, but it was a lot of work getting this garage set up today and getting it in here, and that's the first step. So I'm gonna try to do this for you every night. Hopefully, if I can, you know, I still do have a day. Actually, it's a night job, but you know, that just goes to show you that I'm not a professional mechanic. I don't work on bikes for a living. Most of you don't either. Don't let that stop you from getting a bike, getting it in the garage, and just getting your hands dirty. You know, we're going to do the basic stuff from brakes and tires. You know, and this bike's going to be totally torn apart. The frame is going to come apart. The engine's going to come out, and we're going to make it something. So join me next time. I hope you enjoyed it. This has been Resurrected Metal. Let me give you some contact info. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably on our site, resurrectedmetal.com, or you may be on Facebook, facebook.com/Joe Tess or /resurrectedmetal. You can also find me on Twitter, twitter.com/Joe Tessator, and we're all over the internet somewhere else. But yeah, hit me up, send me an email, joetessator@gmail.com. Again, Resurrected Metal. There's no better time than now, so go out, find a bike. We can work on them together. I'll do it, you do it. Go get yourself a bike. Let's get started on this. Have some fun. Thanks for watching.